A film I watched this week was I Was Monty's Double, the 1958 World War II drama based on a real bizarre plan by the Allies to confuse the enemy. Supposedly, a senior intelligence operative, played by John Mills, when visiting a variety theatre in pursuit of a girl, notices that they have a lookalike for General Montgomery among their company. He's tracked down, and they come up with a scheme to have him appear at various locations around North Africa and the Mediterranean to fool the enemy into thinking that an invasion is planned via the soft underbelly of Europe and not via the D-Day landing stage in Normandy. The man in question, Lieutenant Clifton James, actually plays himself, and the resemblance to Montgomery is considerable. He actually shows himself, despite his claims within the film itself, to actually be no mean actor, having to portray his doubt and mistrust of his own abilities and his growing confidence over the course of the story as the plan is carefully mapped out and enacted. There is a certain amount of fancifulness in the storytelling. The film climaxes with an apparent kidnapping attempt by enemy agents, thinking that they've nabbed the real Montgomery, and James said this never happened. That the whole operation was relatively smooth and went without incident. But it's nevertheless an impressive and engaging story. There's a lot of period detail, as one would expect. The only downside is that the film was made in 1958, 14 years after the event, by which stage James was 60. So the idea that he would be a lieutenant in the Pay Corps at that age looks a little unlikely, and he does look his age, whereas had he been 46 at the time, it would have been rather more plausible. It's well directed by John Guillermin, who would go on to be more successful in the US. Legendarily, he would be the director behind the Poseidon Adventure, and I believe the Towering Inferno. I'd have to check that. And finding huge success on bigger canvases. No, Ronald Neame directed the Poseidon Adventure. That was it. But Guillermin did direct the Towering Inferno. Ronald Neame, of course, also made his bones on making his sort of black and white World War II dramas. But it's an engaging, solid, entertaining film. There's a lot of humour to the story rather than the incessant flag waving that one might expect, although there was patriotic content. And I think that's more a reflection of the fact that this was made in the late 50s. It wasn't a wartime production. It was one being told with a little more distance, I think, simply because there was so much secrecy surrounding the situation in the first place. James is a capable actor, better than one would have expected. Mills is likeable and engaging. There's a fine raft of supporting performances from a whole range of recognisable faces. Sid James pops up for one scene. Alfie Bass gets a joke cameo. Even Michael Hordern turns up as the governor of Gibraltar. All these various character actors, and it's a pleasure to see them all. Marius Goering even plays a German agent. So yes, it's a very enjoyable, entertaining, classic World War II movie, but one with a slightly more humorous and maybe satirical edge than one might have expected. It's certainly aged very well, and I enjoyed it quite a lot.